we're going to be making some of the little mushrooms. So we'll need our white yarn, our red yarn, crochet hook, stitch marker, tapestry needle, and some scissors and coffee. To start our mushroom, we're going to chain 16 in the back bumps of the chain. So we have our front of our chain, and then on the back we have this third loop, which is the back bump, and we're going to work into there, and we're going to do 15 single crochets across. We now have our first row, which we're going to turn into a round, and we're going to work in our first stitch of that round. And so we're going to do extended half double crochets. So for round 2, we're going to do 15 extended double crochets around. At the end of our round 2, we're going to slip stitch into our first stitch to join. And we pull those stitches tight so they look more like a knot and less like a stitch. We're going to chain 1. For round 3, we're decreasing by 3 stitches. So we're going to do single crochet 2 together, followed by 3 single crochets, and we're going to do that 3 times around. So we will end up with 12 stitches for our round 3. At the end of our round 3, we're going to slip stitch to join. We're going to chain 1, and for round 4, we're going to be decreasing again. So we're going to do single crochet 2 together, followed by 2 single crochets. We're going to do that 3 times. So we'll end up with 9 stitches for our round 4. We're going to slip stitch to join. We're going to chain 1. And for round 5, we're going to be doing extended half double crochets, and we're going to be working the front loops only. So these are our front loops, and these are our back loops, front loops, back loops. And we're going to do 2 extended half double crochets in each front loop. So for round 5, we'll end up with 18 stitches. At the end of our round 5, we're going to slip stitch to join. I'm going to chain 1. Round 6, we're doing a twisted single crochet in the front loops only. So we have our front loops and our back loop, front loop, back loop. And we're going to do 18 twisted single crochets in the front loops only of round 5. So for round 6, we'll end up with 18 stitches. At the end of our round 6, we're going to slip stitch to join. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch into this back loop of round 5, just to bring us back to that back loop of round 5. We're then going to take our red yarn, and we'll color change to our red. We're not going to tie off our white yet because we're still going to use it a couple more times. So now we have our red yarn that we're working with. So now that we've done our color change, we're going to be working on our round 7. So we have our round 6, which is our twisted single crochet in our round 5, and we're going to the back loops of our round 5 here. And we're going to be increasing our stitches. So we're going to take our red yarn, working the back loops only of round 5, And we're going to do 2 half double crochets followed by 1 half double crochet, and we're going to do that 9 times around. So round 7, working the back loops only of round 5, which would be the loop right behind our twisted single crochet round. And by increasing every other stitch, we're going to end up with 27 stitches for our round 7. At the end of our round 7, we're going to slip stitch to join. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to be decreasing by 3. So we're going to single crochet 2 together, followed by 7 single crochets. And we're going to do that 3 times to end up with 24 single crochets at the end of round 8. We're going to slip stitch to join our round. We're going to chain 1. For round 9, we're going to be alternating colors. So we're going to do 3 half double crochets. And in our third one, we're going to color change. So we're going to pull our last loop of our third stitch with our color change, so with our white. And then we're going to do a puff stitch. And then for the last loop of our puff stitch, we're going to color change back to red. We're going to do 5 half double crochets. And on our 5th one, we're going to color change again. So taking our white to pull that last loop. And we're going to do another puff stitch with our white. Color change again, pulling the last loop of the puff stitch with our red. We're going to do, and then we're going to do 5 half double crochets followed by a puff stitch 2 more times. And then to finish out our round 9, we're going to do the last 2 stitches with the red half double crochets. And then we will slip stitch to join. Going to chain 1. For our round 10, we're going to be decreasing by 4 stitches. So we're going to single crochet 4, followed by a decrease stitch. So single crochet 2 together. And we're going to do the 4 single crochets followed by a decrease 4 times. So we will end up with 20 stitches at the end of our round 10. We're going to slip stitch to join our round 10 and chain 1. And for round 11, we're going to be decreasing again. So we're going to do our decrease stitch, followed by 2 single crochets. And we're going to do that 5 times around. And that will give us 15 stitches for our round 11. At the end of our round 11, we're going to slip stitch to join. Round 12, we're going to be decreasing again. So we're going to single crochet 2 together 3 times. So 3 decreases. And then on our next decrease, we're going to single crochet 3 together. So we're decreasing 3 stitches into 1. And then we're going to be doing 3 more decreases to finish out our round 12. So we'll have 7 stitches total for round 12. Then we're going to slip stitch to join. for our round 13, we're going to slip stitch into our first stitch. We're going to slip stitch 2 together. So on this slip stitch 2 together, we're going to do our color change. So slip stitch 2 together with our color change. And we're going to do our last puff stitch. And then the last stitch of our puff stitch, we're going to do our color change again. And our last 2 stitches, we're going to slip stitch them together. And then we'll slip stitch to join. And then we're just going to cut and tie off to finish off our mushroom. This is where you can use your tapestry needle if you would like. If you still have a little bit of a hole at the top, you can weave your red with your tapestry needle. And then we're gonna weave in our ends, which is generally a lot easier without a cat laying on my arm. And so you can cut your ends on the inside if you want, so they're nice and flat. And then you have a little bobble spotted mushroom.